Hey guys, NRG Mobile 48 back again, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I've been waiting for this one. It is time to do our yearly playoff predictions, but we're not going to be doing it the way we have been the last couple years, where I go round by round every what 2-3 weeks and stuff. No. We're gonna get it all done in one video. But first, we're gonna go back to my video 6 months ago. Down here, my 2023 NASCAR season predictions, and I already know it's wrong off the thumbnail. Truex with the down arrow, then Allmendinger with the up. Okay, but we're gonna look at that video. We're gonna look at how many drivers I got right, and we'll take a look at that. And once we're done with that, we're gonna go by quickly to look at my playoff predictions for 2023 and even have to choose our champion. But before we begin, if you guys want to check out my gaming channel, NRG Gaming 48, link will be down in the description below. Want to check out my Instagram, link will also be down in the description below. Or if you just head over to my channel, the links to both of them will be right there. I mean, there's my Instagram link, and you click one more link, and that should be the gaming channel. Make sure you guys go follow and subscribe over to there. And subscribe to this channel, guys. I know I've only uploaded, what? Like 5 videos this year, but it has just been really busy. I didn't think my senior year would be that totally busy, and then I just started college, so I'm even busier. And I want to do, and the last couple of videos have been my track vlogs when I went to Coda and when I went to the Chicago Street Course, but I don't want them to be redundant. So like I don't know if I'm gonna if I do go to Coda next year, which I'm not sure if I can because of college. I'm not sure, but even if I do go to Coda, I don't plan on making a vlog, not unless there's like a big storyline, because I've already done 3 Coda vlogs, and then Texas. I've already done 2 Texas races, and one of them was with the next gen last year. So if I go to Texas later this year, I don't think I'm gonna do one. I want to do them with new tracks, like that's what I do with the Chicago Street Course. So hopefully I go to a new track pretty soon, but only time will tell. But anyway, enough with all that. Let's go ahead and dive on in. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video down here and see how wrong I was. Okay. All right. I got to the point of the video, and I mean, I'm already disappointed with the ranked by the part teams down here, because I said part-time teams because I thought Jimmy would do better of the part-time teams. I don't even think the money team has ran a single race this year. Austin Hill hasn't been that bad in the 62, but the 91, who knew that SVG was going to run a cup race, and who would have thought he was going to win the Chicago Street Course? So, yeah, that one blew up in my face, and Jimmy wrecked in both of his start. Oh my God. Okay, but we're not focused on that. I ranked Ty Gibbs really low. I thought he would not even be close, but okay. Surprisingly, that's where Noah Gragson technically was this year. Ryan Preece about the same. Same thing with Ty Gillen, and same with these other drivers right here, except for Stenhouse. But let's ignore that. Let's look at the contenders. So I got Chastain, so that's one. Harvick, that's two. Larson, three. Bush, four. Elliott. Hmm. All right, really, if you want to have the most perfect, or the just the best playoff predictions video, you'd have to have 14 out of 16. Because who knew? No, I would say 13 or 14 out of 16. Because who knew Chase Elliott was gonna go snowboarding and get injured and then wreck Denny Hamlin at Charlotte? Who knew Bowman was gonna get a 60-point penalty and also be injured in a sprint car race and miss 3 weeks? And who knew Stenhouse of all people would win the Daytona 500? Anyway, but yeah, so if you got 13 out of 16, congrats to you. I only got 11, so I'm not happy about that. Chase Elliott, I mean, there were opportunities where he could. He just didn't really have that much race winning speed, and just ultimately missed the playoffs. I mean, I do feel bad for Chase Elliott, but it's not the end of the world because he can come back next year. And so many people are so mad at Alan Gustafson, like, oh, it's because of him we didn't make the playoffs. No, it was because of your driver. Alan Gustafson wasn't the driver who went snowboarding or wrecked Denny Hamlin. That was all Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott did the best he could, but there were just times where he just couldn't make up points, like at New Hampshire, and then Michigan was really the race that ended it for him trying to point his way in. So yeah, nothing much you can say about that. But hey, Chase Elliott has nothing really to lose. All great drivers in NASCAR don't have they all have bad years, and this is just a down year for them. I mean, their stats are pretty decent, but there's one particular stat, laps led, meaning that he can finish races pretty well, but he doesn't do that well as the races go on. So yeah, that sucks for him. But hey, there's next year. Denny Hamlin. Okay, I got him, so that's 5 out of 6. Blaney, 6 out of 7. Briscoe, that's 6 out of 8. Okay, I think I overhyped Chase Briscoe and Stewart Haas Racing. I thought Stewart Haas Racing would be a little bit better considering they got 3 wins last year, but they blew up in my face once again. Chase Briscoe has been running 30th, 31st. He has just been so bad. They got a penalty after a big penalty after the Coke 600, and then I believe a couple weeks after that penalty, they got this his crew chief from the Xfinity Series when they went on that race win tear in 2020, and what happened? It didn't do anything. Because I thought like a pairing with like William Byron or Rudy Fugle could happen there, but it's like if you get a Xfinity Series crew chief and bring it up to Cup, it's not going to do anything. Same thing with like Luke Lambert, um, with Noah Gregson, that didn't do anything. And then, uh, yeah, I mean, just think, just think. If some for some of you Chase Elliott haters, think about Greg Ives because Greg Ives was Chase Elliott's crew chief in the Xfinity Series in 2014 when they won the championship. But then when Steve Letarte left Dale Earnhardt Jr. after 2014, they promoted Greg Ives because he won the championship. And Chase Elliott got some crew chief in 2015. He only won 1 race that year, and then you brought Greg Ives to Cup, and he won 3 races with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now Dale Jr. got injured, and so just think, what if Chase Elliott got Greg Ives for when he joined Hendrick Motorsports, and what if Alan Gustafson went to Dale Jr.? That could have been something, but I don't know why I'm giving Chase Elliott people theories. Greg Ives, I don't think he's definitely not coming back to crew chief. But yeah, Chase Briscoe, yeah, that crew chief from the Xfinity didn't change anything. They suck. He sucks. I don't know what to say about Suarez Racing. So that's 6 out of 8. We're 6 out of 9 now because I right next to him is AJ Allmendinger. Oh my gosh, yeah. So AJ Allmendinger, overhyped AJ Allmendinger in Kaulig Racing a wee bit too much. I thought Allmendinger would have a great year, but the thing I forgot about AJ Allmendinger is just because he ran the Xfinity Series races the day prior, the next day in Cup, he would actually know what to do and have some experience, and he'd run really good, like at like Homestead. And the Roval, well, he's got it here at the Roval. He's won the last like 4 Roval races, so he's obviously going to be good there. But he's been a struggle at the road courses this season. I'm actually been surprised. He's only got like 2 top 10 finishes at the road courses this year, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but it has been a struggle for AJ Allmendinger, just Kaulig Racing in general. They're losing um, Justin Haley to Rick Ware Racing of all people, so I don't know what to do or what to say about AJ Allmendinger, but just a terrible year. And it also doesn't help that they decide to go run the Xfinity race at Road America that 1 week and miss out on practice and qualifying at Richmond, where they still finished bad. So yeah, so they didn't really care about making the playoffs. They're just trophy hunters. So I'm kind of glad they missed the playoffs. Christopher Bell. Okay, we're back on track. So that's 7 of 9, I believe. No, wait, no, I can't count. 7 of 10, right? Yeah, that's 7 of 10. Logano. All right, all right. 8 of 11. Then you got Bubba Wallace. That was a risky one, but we got him. 9 out of 12. 10 out of 13. We got William Byron. 11 of 14. We had Tyler Reddick. Or am I counting right? I'm so stupid. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I can't count. So I got 7 of 10 on the first row. Second row, I got 8 of 11 with Joey Logano. Then I got 9 of 12 with Bubba Wallace. That was a risky one. Then I have 10 of 13 with William Byron. And we're 10 of 14 with Eric Jones. I also thought Eric Jones would have a good year, but who knew about Legacy Motor Club shitting the bed that bad? I don't know what the frick happened, but it's just Jimmy Johnson coming in. I don't, and it's just been hell. And then now GMS's truck team is shutting down, and they just won a race last week. Man, I mean, we'll see what they do next year with Toyota. But Eric Jones, damn, I just feel bad for him because he did not deserve this. He had a better year than Noah Gragson, but still has not been all that good. He's going back to Darlington tomorrow to see if he can go back to back in the Southern 500, but. Yeah, it's just a bit of a struggle of a year. I thought they would do good. They won the Southern 500, and I thought they would do pretty good at the Super Speedways too, but just has not been the case for Legacy Motor Club. He's going back to Toyota, which, if I'm an Eric Jones fan, I wouldn't be too fond of because I wouldn't trust Toyota if you're an Eric Jones fan. They could screw him over again, but who knows? But yeah, that's not good. 10 of 14. All right, we're 11 of 15 with Tyler Reddick. But then we're 11 of 16, so we got 11 out of 16 right because I picked my boy Alex Bowman. Like I said earlier, missed 3 races due to injury, and they were the points leader. They had a really great season going on, and then they had that 100-point penalty, which didn't take them out of making the playoffs, but it definitely took them out of winning the regular season title. But then they got the 100 points back, and then had a 60-point penalty after Richmond, and they decided not to appeal after that. So I was thinking, oh, okay, we'll let Bowman uh, gain himself back again. They didn't have that much race running speed, but they were coming up to some tracks where they could be pretty good at following Talladega. But then following Talladega, he gets injured in a sprint car crash, misses 3 races and 3 key races. He missed 3 races where he's actually good at 3 of those tracks. No, two of the 3 tracks. He's not good at Darlington. I mean, I just saw him qualify earlier this morning. He's starting 24th, so they're just chasing trophies at this point. But he's good at Dover. He almost won Dover last year, and then he's also good at Kansas, like mile and a half. So yeah. So it does suck for Alex Bowman, and they've had some opportunities where they could have had good finishes or even won later in the season. Like Michigan looked pretty good, Pocono looked really good, but then they made mistakes. Like the one they made a mistake was Atlanta, and he was having pretty good speed. They got wrecked at Pocono, got wrecked at Michigan, got wrecked at Chicago. If you're a Bowman fan, you just have a big ass hemorrhoid in your brain. It just sucks. But yeah, there goes Alex Bowman. There goes the season. I mean, if you're a Bowman fan like me, you already know that you're waiting for 2024. Watch him win the pole for Daytona 500 next year, but I don't want to jinx that either. But yeah, so I got 11 out of 16. I'm actually kind of disappointed. So who are the drivers I left out? Sure as hell it wasn't Daniel Suarez. Truex, I just thought Truex, I thought this was just going to be the end of Martin Truex Jr. and stuff. I just thought that one bad year would end it, but he picked up where he left off. He just decided to pick it back up because he was actually not running that bad during the playoffs when, even though he wasn't competing, he was still running pretty decent, Martrix Jr. and stuff. So even his off-track struggles and no on-track struggles and all that stuff, Trix picked himself up, make the playoffs. Chris Buescher, really underrated. I thought he just missed the playoffs, but won 3 races right before the playoffs. Michael McDowell also made the playoffs. I mean, I didn't think McDowell's supremacy was that big. Keselowski, I didn't think he was as good as Buescher, so I thought he'd do worse, but he still made the playoffs. It's just RFK has been the best Ford team in the Cup Series this season. And then the final one was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. because who knew Stenhouse would win the Daytona 500? They've had some decent top 15 finishes here and there, but I don't know if it's really going to do that much and stuff. So, yeah. But those were my playoff predictions from 6 months ago. So now let's go ahead and dive on into what are my playoff predictions for right now. So let's go ahead and dive on in on that. Okay, so right here are what the playoffs look like. So, of course, you have your non-relevant drivers. These are the standings as they sit in right now. Part-time drivers don't dismiss the playoffs. You got Ty Gibbs, Bowman, Elliott, Allmendinger, all of them down there, blah, 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 blah. But here are your playoff drivers. William Byrne, Martrix Jr., Denny Hamlin, Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Ross Chastain, Brad Kay, Tyler Reddick, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse, Kevin Harvick, and Bubba Wallace, your 16 drivers who have made the playoffs. We are going to go by each of these drivers one by one. So first, we're going to take our drivers who are going to make the next round first, and then we're going to have the 4 drivers who are going to be eliminated left in the Challenger 16, and then we'll talk about them one by one on why they will not make it into the next round. So let's go ahead and get started. So the obvious ones that are going to make the next round, I think your William Byron will make it. I think your Martrix Jr. will make it. I think your Denny Hamlin will make it. I think Chris Buescher will make it. Seems pretty simple right now, but this is just what I see because I think the first round for these top contenders from all season long are definitely gonna make it into the next round of the playoffs. So let's go ahead and keep going. Kyle Busch, I think he'll make it. Kyle Larson, I think he'll make it. Christopher Bell, I also think he'll make it into the next round. Ross Chastain will also make it. Then you got Brad Kay almost make it. And then Tyler Reddick, he'll also make it. Then we'll get to Joey Logano. He'll make it. Blaney, you're going to stay there. McDowell, you're going to stay there. Stenhouse, you're going to stay there. Harvick and Bubba Wallace are going to make it. Oh, wait, I'm missing one driver. Because, guys, why am I missing one driver? Because I think this is going to be the same as last year, where we have a surprise driver not make it and not make it past the first round. And who's that surprise driver? We're going to pick someone from the top 8. The top 8. Who's it going to be? I was gonna pick Ross Chastain, but I'm picking Kyle Busch to be the surprise driver to miss the can I put him in front of Blaney? Yeah, the first driver, surprise driver to miss the first round of the playoffs. So I got Byron, Truex, all these guys in the round of 12. These are my four drivers to miss it: Busch, Blaney, McDowell, and Stenhouse. Now let's take a look one at a time on why I picked those four drivers. So the first driver I have out of the round of 16 is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Guys, not a surprise. It's just Stenhouse. Yes, he's had some decent top 15 runs throughout the season and stuff, but it's JTG Doherty Racing. This is definitely one of their better years. I mean, I bet that Daytona 500 prize money definitely did something for this team and organization for throughout this season. But I don't know how much that's going to carry into the playoffs, and I don't know how much that's going to carry to 2024. But I think this is where their season come and goes right here. He's just not as strong as the other playoff drivers. In my opinion, he's the weakest link. I mean, I don't know his history at Darlington well. I know back in 2020 when NASCAR came back from the pandemic and stuff, he was the one who wrecked on lap one. And yeah, Kansas, it can be a decent track for them. I'm not really sure how their mile and a half program is. And then Bristol is really a track that I can't trust Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at, because that's, first of all, that's the elimination race for the round of 16 to get into the round of 12. And if you look at Stenhouse in the last four Bristol races, he's DNF'd in three of the last four. Three in the last four Bristol races. So that's not a good sign. And that even includes last year. So Stenhouse, not a driver I can trust. He's one of the drivers who will be out in the first round. Next driver out of the round of 16 is Mike McDowell. McDowell's supremacy will come to an end early in 2023. And that's because for Mike McDowell in the first round, they're just non-favorable tracks in the opening round. He's not good at Darlington nor Kansas. I mean, I know, yeah, he wrecked out at Darlington earlier this year, but Kansas, he finished like 26. That's particularly not that good. And then just the mistakes on pit road, the driver error, that's something I'm worried about. I think the only way McDowell could get out of the playoffs is himself. I think he's his own worst enemy. Because I know he won the Indy Road Course, but he did something to where he wasn't trying to go for the win, or he was just staying steadily. When him and Suarez were coming to pit road for the first round of green flag pit stops, Suarez sped up to McDowell before crossing the pit entry line, and he gained a lot of time on McDowell. McDowell could have sped up too, but he didn't, because he's just not that experienced with that. They didn't make any mistakes on pit road, which was good. But the next week at Watkins Glen, two mistakes on pit road by Mike McDowell and his team, and then the race ended with their engine going out. So they have good momentum going into the playoffs, but at the same time they don't, because these last two races haven't really been particularly that good. Even at Daytona Super Speedways, he won the Daytona 500 before. He qualified terribly. I don't know what's going on with Michael McDowell the last couple of weeks, but this is not good momentum going into the playoffs. So I'm just saying their regular season ended pretty ugly, so I do not think they'll be able to make it through the first round. Next up is Ryan Blaney. I figured Ryan Blaney would be the surprise driver, but not really. I kind of expect Ryan Blaney to be out in the first round or to pretty much struggle. I don't know what's going on with him, but ever since his Coke 600 win, he's been really inconsistent. He was really consistent last year, and hell, he didn't even win a race last year. He did better in the playoffs last year. Last year, I think he made it to the round of 8. Something like that. I'm not really sure. But it's not just him who's been inconsistent. It's Penske in general. Austin Cindric won the Daytona 500. He's had a terrible sophomore year, and Logano hasn't even been that good either. Now, and also, you also got to think about Blaney. He has struggled in the opening round before, back in 2020. Now, granted, they had a penalty before the playoffs that time around, but still, can't really trust Ryan Blaney. So I think Ryan Blaney is a first round exit. Now, this may seem like a greedy pick or risky one, but I just can't trust Kyle Busch right now. It is a shocker, a big one, but I don't know. These last few races for Kyle Busch, or just how his season has gone in general, has been really up and down. So he's finished outside the top 20 in 4 of the last 7 races, and he DNF'd in 2 of those. That was New Hampshire and Michigan. And in both of those races, he screwed up himself. That's driver error. So I don't know what's been going on with Kyle Busch. And then really, which Kyle are we going to get in this first round? Because the last two Darlington fall races, he's finished 30th or worse. So I don't know if he has that in his head about those. And heck, even remember the Goodyear 400 last year? No, the last three Darlington races for Kyle Busch have been atrocious. Atrocious. Well, except for the one earlier this year. I'm talking about the both two of them in 2022 and the fall one in 2021. I don't know what has just been going on with Kyle Busch. It has just been a struggle. And he also crashed at Kansas earlier this year. So Kyle Busch, I just can't trust him. I know he has 3 wins in the Cup Series right now this season, but I don't know. I just don't know. And even the Indy Road Course he had, that was just his car or something like that. I just cannot trust the 8 team right now because I don't know who we're gonna get, and I feel like some of these other drivers are gonna have some pretty good rounds, and not the 8 car. So Kyle Busch is my shocker driver to miss the first round of the playoffs, or to be eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. So yeah, those are my round of 8 drivers or my round of I can't speak. My round of 16 drivers who are gonna miss it right there. Stenhouse, McDowell, Blaney, and Kyle Busch. Now let's move on to the round of 12. Who are my 4 drivers who will be eliminated? So yeah, guys, that was my round of 16. Challenger 16 who will be eliminated. Now let's move on to the round of 12. Who are the drivers that will advance? Let's put the 24 car up there. Let's put the 19 car up there. The 11, the 17, all those guys up there, and the 5. And let's leave the 20. Let's leave the 1. We'll add the 6. We'll add the 45. And we'll add the 22. That's right. So my 4 drivers that will be eliminated in the round of 12 are Bubba Wallace, Kevin Harvick, Ross Chastain, and Christopher Bell. Now let's go in depth and see why I picked them to miss the round of 12. Bubba Wallace. Why will Bubba Wallace be eliminated after the round of 12? Mostly because most first playoff appearances get knocked out in the round of 12. Well, if you're good, because there's some drivers that made the playoffs for the first time ever, like Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick and Chris Buescher. Those guys, whenever they first made the playoffs, they got eliminated first round. The only other driver that I can remember in their first playoff appearance that got eliminated in the round of 12 was Chase Elliott. But I think the best driver in their first playoff appearance that made it to the round of 8 in their first playoff appearance was like Ryan Blaney and Chase Briscoe, I believe. I'm not completely sure, but I think that's also what happened. But anyway, talking about Bubba Wallace, yeah, most first playoff appearances get knocked out in the round of 12. Like if you don't get knocked out round of 16 in your first playoff appearance, you're sure as hell going to get knocked out in the round of 12. And it also just doesn't help that the Roval is the last race of the round of 12, because let's say Texas is a wild card track. It's not like all the other mile-and-a-half tracks like Vegas and Kansas. This is a mile-and-a-half track of its own that's a beast because of how bad the track is. So Bubba Wallace could have an issue there. And then Talladega, sure, yeah, he was close to winning there earlier this year, but who knows? Who can win at Talladega? Anyone can literally win. Did anyone pick Buescher to win at Talladega? I mean at Daytona? Maybe, but still. Who knew? I didn't think the RFK guys would win that race. So I don't know if Bubba Wallace can do it either there. And then if Bubba Wallace is in a really deep situation and he has to rely on the Roval, that's a recipe for disaster because he's not good at the road courses. We saw how Indy Road Course, he did nothing wrong, but the other guys ran so much better and he lost a lot of points at the cut line. So Bubba Wallace, I'm sorry, but your first playoff appearance will end in the round of 12. Dang, the point standings, the playoff bubble for the Xfinity Series, Kligerman only has a 4-point gap over Herbst because Herbst has been having a really good race today. I'm watching the Xfinity race right now, and Nemechek has been clearly dominating this whole thing. But now on to Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain, the man himself, will be eliminated in the round of 12. I was picking either between him or Kyle Busch to be eliminated in the first round, but I wanted to make it a big surprise for Kyle Busch to miss the round of 16 2 years in a row, which is actually insane for a driver of his caliber. But I think Chastain will miss the round of 12. I feel like Chastain could have a decent run in the first round. Like he's pretty good at Darlington if he doesn't wreck or piss people off in that race. He can be pretty decent at Kansas, again, if he doesn't piss people off in that race. In Bristol, Bristol, we only run there once a year on the concrete, so anything can happen. But Chastain, he's just struggled with speed at Trackhouse and has been more down than up this year. And he's just not capable of making the round of 8 this year. So those are my reasons. Nothing about the tracks for Ross Chastain in the round of 12. It's just the speed of Trackhouse. So I wouldn't even be shocked if they don't even run that well at Darlington. But I feel like Darlington's more of a driver's track than a track for speed. So we'll see for now, but he's my prediction to be eliminated in the round of 12. Third driver out of the round of 12 will be Christopher Bell. Bell has just been inconsistent compared to last season. He had to win it. Now remember, he had to win his way into the round of 8 a year ago at the Charlotte Roval, but they haven't been as good as last year to where, or not as strong as last year to do it. So I can't really trust Christopher Bell no matter if he's good at the Charlotte Rover or not. But I still think he can make it past the first round because luckily he has drivers that are worse than him. And his only win came at Dirt Bristol. And I'm pretty sure he's only had like one top 5 since that win at Bristol Dirt, which is not good for his standards or JGR standards. And also, if you guys think about this, all the poles that Bell won this year, he's finished bad later in those races. Go back to Auto Club, he finished 32nd. Go back to New Hampshire, he finished 29th. I remember that vividly. He screwed up himself. Michigan, screwed up himself, finished 13th. And he just won the pole for Darlington earlier this morning. So I don't think he's going to run that good tomorrow. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he can prove us wrong the fourth time's a charm. But Christopher Bell, just not what he was last year, and I don't think he could make it on to the round of 8. And then the final driver that will be eliminated from the round of 12, Kevin Harvick. I'm sorry, but Kevin Harvick can carry his team as far as he can. Sadly, I don't think it will be enough to make it past the second round of the playoffs. I think Harvick is good enough to make it past the first round, mostly because, like I said with Christopher Bell, there are drivers not as experienced or not as good as Kevin Harvick throughout the season to pass him or do better than him in the first round. Because think, if we didn't have that crappy-ass parts incident at Darlington a year ago, Harvick could go ahead and possibly have a good finish at Darlington or maybe even win that race. Who knows? But it's just last year we really saw that the next-gen car cannot handle 500-mile racetracks. So we'll see how the 500 miles of the Southern 500 tomorrow does, but I can see why they shortened Texas to 400 miles this season. But Kevin Harvick, just sadly not enough for him because SHR equipment is just going to hold him back from going far. It's not going to be the season where Jeff Gordon won a race and made it to the championship for. I think Harvick still making the playoffs, but only being eliminated around the 12. It's still not really that good, but hey, he won up to his boss, Tony Stewart. It's just that Tony Stewart won a race in his final year and Harvick didn't. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, Harvick, sadly, in his final year, will not make it past the round of 12. So now we are down to our round of 8. So these are the drivers that I predict to make the round of 8. Now, who makes the championship 4? Oh, I probably should have added another one to say champion or championship 4. Let me do that right quick. Okay, so there's the final 4. Then we have champion. So who are the drivers that I predict that will make the final 4? He's been good all year. William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, and this last one was a toss-up, but I had to pick him. Kyle Larson. So the 4 drivers that I believe that will be eliminated after the round of 8 are Chris Buescher, Brad Kay, Tyler Reddick, and Joey Logano. Let's tell the reason why. Also, 25 laps to go. Hill is trying to hold off Denny Hamlin for the race win. Hopefully Hill can do it. Anyway, let's get on to the 4 drivers that I have eliminated after the round of 8 who will not make the championship 4. Tyler Reddick. The 45 team they're not that strong, but they are stronger than others, so I could see why they would make it. They're not that much of a strong team, but I feel like they're better than others to where they can make it to the round of 8. Plus, Tyler Reddick is a good driver himself. It's just the team can screw him at some point, like how we saw at Nashville and Michigan. 2 races Reddick could have for sure won, but his pit crew got in his way. And maybe like a Homestead where he's really good, I feel like Reddick could win a race like that, but Kyle Larson dominated the hell out of that race last year. And plus, who's to say his pit crew couldn't screw him again at a track that he could win at? So you also got to think of that. But but who knows? But he's just not a championship four caliber driver anyway with this team, and especially with that pit crew. So I think that's why Reddick will not be able to make it to the championship four. Next up, Joey Logano. Logano, I just don't know. He will never make the championship four in odd number years. I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Like 2015, he finished sixth in points. 2017, he didn't even make the playoffs. He finished 17th in points. 2019, he finished fifth in points. And 2021, he finished eighth in points. Something with Logano in 2023 or in odd number years does not make any sense. But 2024, he's already a lock for that championship four. And anyway, also, it's not only because of odd number years, it's also because it's just been a lackluster season for the 2020 for the 22 team and the reigning series champion, and just for Team Penske overall. And their only win came at Atlanta, which was race 5. And they're not even a trustworthy team, so that's why I think Logano can't make it to the final round of the NASCAR playoffs, also because of the odd number year. Next up for Brad Keselowski, I think this is where his title hopes or championship four hopes come to an end. This is where the momentum for RFK runs out. I mean, they will be outran by like the top guys in NASCAR, like a Hamlin, Byron, and a Larson and stuff right now. But I feel like if there was a good shot for Keselowski, it would be Martinsville. That would be his best shot. He ran really good there last year. This year wasn't really as good, but they weren't as good as they were at the beginning of this year to where they were in the summer, or where they are in the summer right now. But you also and then like I said about Martinsville, like where he didn't finish that well earlier this year, that was a 24th place finish. So yeah, but yeah, they've gotten better still, but who knows what will happen. And really, Keselowski, I know he's helping his teammate Chris Buescher and all that stuff, but Buescher has 4 wins. 4 wins. Keselowski, in my opinion, needs to win a race in the playoffs in order for his hopes to stay alive. Because like I said, Buescher has 4, Keselowski has 0. He could get it done at at a Texas. He won the pole at Texas a year ago, and he finished 8th in that race last year. So I think he could do pretty well there. Talladega could work with his RFK teammate. That could be their best shot. But then the Roval troubles me because he's not a good road course racer. So he needs those first 2 races of the round of 12 to go smoothly in order for him to not have to worry about the Charlotte Roval, because the Charlotte Roval can be a gauntlet in itself. And then I don't think he's just that much of a caliber against the other guys in the round of 8 to even make it into the championship four. So sorry, Brad, that's where it's going to end. If I had to, if I just had to have a surprising driver to make the championship four, like Ross Chastain did last year, it would be Chris Buescher, because this team has just been a big surprise. When they won at Richmond, I was thinking, you know what, I'm actually not that surprised they won Richmond, because Buescher almost won that race last year. Michigan was a surprise. He ran really well. He was going against Tyler Reddick, and he beat him. Well, team beat himself, but he beat Martin Truex Jr., who was gonna win that race. And then they won at Daytona. Bruh, this team is under the radar. This is why he's the most underrated driver in the Cup Series. 5 career wins. I think he could get it done and make the championship four. But I already gave off a big surprise with Kyle Busch missing the first round back-to-back years, especially since he's had 3 wins earlier this year. I think this is where the road ends for Chris Buescher and team. Buescher, he's just the one and only driver that can shock the world by making the championship four. That's it. But I don't think we'll get a surprise like that this season, like I already said. He's high seeded enough to get past round 1. He has Talladega and the Roval in round 2, but he's atrocious at Texas. So he just needs those last 2 races in the round of 12 to do good. Because Texas, he finished 19th. In the first race in 2020, he finished 34th in the second race in 2020, finished 21st in 2021. I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he didn't finish worse than 21st back 2 years ago, because he wrecked twice in that race. And then he finished 30th last year. So Texas, home track, not his best track. But don't worry, Fort Worth doesn't have a population of 30,000. And he's just not as good as the top guns in Cup, like I said, like a Larson, Hamlin, and all of them. So it does suck for Chris Buescher, but hey, they made it this far. They should be proud. But next year, they need to go off stronger. Stronger. So now from here we have our championship four with William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson. This is a tough one because look at the championship, which is at Phoenix International Raceway or Phoenix Raceway, whatever. Those are it's just really hard to say based off how how they ran earlier this year compared to now. Because going back to Phoenix earlier this year, Truex finished 17th, Hamlin finished 23rd. Well, Hamlin self-destruct because he was pissed off at Chastain. Byron won that race, and Larson finished 4th. Then you go back to the first Richmond race, Truex finished 11th, Byron finished 24th. He would have possibly won that race if he didn't get wrecked by Christopher Bell. Bell has wrecked a lot of people lately and caused the big one last week. And then Larson did win that race, and then Hamlin finished 20th after he led a few laps in that race. He also wrecked J.J. Elley in that race. And then you go to sort of in the second part of the season, Gateway, Truex finishes 5th, Byron 8th, Larson 4th, Hamlin 2nd. So they all finished in the top 10, showing that they're pretty good with it. And this is when Hendrick was kind of dialing back a little bit. They weren't too bad. But then the second Richmond race, Truex finished 7th, Hamlin finished 2nd, Byron and Larson 19th and 21st. So it's really hard to say on who's going to win this championship. And so I'm just going to, well, it's really also the round of 8. Because how can they make the championship 4? I just want to go off that first. How can they make the championship 4? Well, Byron won at Vegas earlier this year, and he also won at Homestead. Granted, that was a couple years ago in the Gen 6 car, but still, Hamlin finished top 10 in all 3 of the round of 8 races a season ago, and Larson won and dominated Homestead last year. And then Truex, he's better at Phoenix, and Hendrick is better at short tracks to start the season, but then they struggled. So if I had to go ahead and eliminate some guys from the championship 4, Larson's 4th, and then I'm going to put Byron in 3rd. So it's between Truex and Hamlin. And so this is one of the hard parts. Truex is someone I can trust. But Denny Hamlin, something that can be offered Denny Hamlin is his off-track distractions. With his contract with JGR not being signed, the Toyota contract with 23XI Racing, yeah, we heard the rumors about them possibly going to Ford and getting 2 charters from SHR. Those rumors have been shut down after last week. But another big and key distraction for Hamlin, other than his contract disputes, is with Larson at Pocono. Larson hasn't forgotten. I thought Larson would have done something to Hamlin in this Xfinity race, but Larson, his car, something happened to his car. Damn, Hendrick engines nowadays. But something down the line, the playoffs, Larson could do something to Denny Hamlin. I think Hamlin's off-track disputes or off-track incidents, or on-track incidents actually, can get him into trouble. So that is why I think Martin Truex Jr. is going to be your 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion. And you know what's weird? I picked these same exact 4 drivers to make the championship 4 at the beginning of the 2022 season, and I picked Byron to win it. Now, sure, there's a history of like Ford popping out of nowhere and playing spoiler, but Chevy starts off strong and Toyota finishes strong. So give me MTJ to win the NASCAR Cup Series championship. But yeah, that is going to do it for here today. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought of my playoff predictions, of me going 11 out of 16. Was it totally expecting or non-expecting? I mean, after I saw Chase Elliott not make the playoffs, I already knew I was not going to be perfect. Hopefully next year, which I already know I'm not going to be perfect as well. But also, let me know what you guys thought of my playoff predictions, and let me know your playoff predictions down in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to win the championship? Who do you think is going to make the championship 4? Who's going to be the first 4 out of the round of 16? Or just give me your entire playoff predictions. I would love to see those and compare and contrast. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Like I said, if you guys want to check out my main channel or my Instagram, links will be in the description below or right here on the main channel on a laptop or something like that. Yeah, but yeah, that's gonna do it for today. I'll probably talk about the next video I probably have will be talking about the champion, something like that. Maybe who had the worst paint schemes, all that stuff will be coming later. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry about my hiatus, but I'll definitely be back pretty soon in a couple months. So I'll see you guys in the next one. It's so weird saying in a couple months, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. This is NRG Mobile 48. Peace out.